Taiwan's military gets ready to train on defending its largest international airport from attack. The country's political party starts setting the stage for next year's election. LGBTQ groups are calling on politicians to adopt queer-friendly platforms. Plus,
it's Bluefin tuna season in southern Taiwan. We take a look at what dishes locals can have during this season.
A warm welcome to TaiwanPlus News. I'm Yin Khvat. Taiwan's military has bought 14 anti-tank mine-laying vehicles from the US. The volcano mine system fires anti-tank mines into the ground. The deal, worth $146 million, was reportedly signed last week, but wasn't made public until Thursday. Rumors of the purchase began circulating late last year. At that time, several lawmakers said the mines could pose a threat to the public. The military says the systems will not be deployed during peacetime and that anti-tank mines cannot be set off by the weight of a person. Taiwanese military vests have been found to use fabric from China. A military equipment supplier has been charged with trying to pass them off as Taiwan-made and breaking national security rules. Joyce Zhang has this report.
The last line of defense. In most modern-day armed forces, bulletproof vests are one of the most important pieces of equipment for individual soldiers. And the standards for companies supplying Taiwan's troops with their protective gear is extremely high. But one subcontractor may have severely compromised these regulations. Military equipment supplier Renwu has been charged with using fabrics from China to make the bulletproof vests for Taiwan's army and police.
掩饰未实质生产制造抗弹纤维布的事实，而将中国制的抗弹纤维布成品出货于军备具205厂，以此手法从中获得超过新台币6700万元的不法利益。
In 2018, the company won a bid to supply Taiwan's Armaments Bureau with 450,000 meters of anti-stretch bulletproof cloth. But they've been accused of swapping out labels on China-made fabrics and passed the shipment off as its own Taiwan-made product. Any use of Chinese products in Taiwan's military and government systems, from fabrics to communication equipment, is banned for security reasons.
大陆货来冲刺，那这样的话会不会造成国安的问题？我认为都有疑虑。还有这个是个防弹背心，如果是电子产品呢？是个通讯装备呢？
Last year, a Taiwanese subcontractor was found to have used missile parts from China, which also set off national security alarms. As for Renwu, prosecutors say the head of the company confessed when confronted with the evidence. He's now been released on a $16,000 bail, but investigations are ongoing to find out how much of the company's materials have been used by Taiwan's armed forces. Scott Huang and Joyce for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan's largest ever military exercises are less than a month away, and for the first time, they'll include the simulated defense of the country's main airport. Jaime Ocon explains.
Taiwan is getting ready for its largest annual military drills, the Hangguang exercises. For 5 days in late July, the country will practice defending against an all-out invasion from China. And for the first time, the military will rehearse repelling an attack on Taiwan's largest airport, Taoyuan International. The Transport and Defense Ministries are already working together to minimize any disruptions, though dozens of flights will be affected.
1小时的汉光演习里面会发飞航的通告让一些飞机就不要在演习的范围内来这个跟这个演习发生这个冲突。9点到11点，那航班现在整个因为在调配了。
This anti-takeover drill will be one of the main operations of July's war games, involving both Air Force and Special Forces. It's part of a push by the military to step up security of key infrastructure like ports and air bases. But analysts say that Taoyuan Airport is important for another reason.
If Taiwan Airport is lost, okay, there are highways that link directly from the airport to the Taipei city that allows the enemy to quickly get into city and achieve the decapitation strike, trying to capture Taiwan's leadership.
Taiwan has conducted similar anti-invasion drills in the past. Troops take on the role of Chinese soldiers by dressing up in red helmets and gear and dropping from helicopters or airplanes. But now the military has the opportunity to practice in one of the most likely combat sites.
It is such a luxury to be able to exercise in the location, in the same location that you are going to fight. So because by doing so, you can understand the various terrain, advantage locations, disadvantage locations.
Other than getting its troops ready to fight, Taiwan has also been investing in air defense weapons, like the American-made Stinger missile and the Avenger anti-air system. Weapons that could protect the airport by stopping enemy troops from landing there at all.
Those type of systems that can get the enemies over water before they can even get close to Taiwan, I think it's critical. They are mobile, they are survivable, they can be hidden. These are the systems that Taiwan need to have in order to defend the Taoyuan airport.
With less than a month until the drills kick off, Taiwan's military is hoping to make the most of this special opportunity, not only to train troops on how to defend its largest airport, but also to stop an invasion before it can reach the site in the first place. Andy Xue and Jaime Okan for TaiwanPlus.
Police in Thailand have arrested a Taiwanese couple accused of scamming people out of almost $130 million US. The husband and wife fled Taiwan in 2001 after allegedly soliciting investments for a company that did not exist. Police say over 4,000 people fell for the scam. The couple were placed on Taiwan's most wanted list in 2002. They changed their names and entered Thailand in 2018 on Belizean passports. The pair were taken into custody last week. Prisons are toughening their tracking of inmates on work release. Those that are allowed to leave prisons to work will now be monitored through a watch. But activists are calling this a violation of human rights. Bing Wang reports.
This watch has a built-in GPS system. It's being used by Taiwan's correctional agency to track the movements of prisoners. These are specifically for inmates allowed to work outside during the daytime and must return to the prison at night. It's a policy called work release. Government statistics say over the past 10 years, 49 people did not return to prison after work, including 4 people this year. Just last August, Lin Xingwu, out on work release, killed 2 policemen in the southern city of Tainan. This led the correction agency to tighten up the rules.
有3个适用对象。那第一个是我们日间外出到厂商工作的自主监外作业。那第二个是我们外出返家探视的受刑人。那第三个是外役跟监外作业的收容人。
But activists are calling this a violation of human rights.
不应该用这种所谓的电子的设备来违反说整个外役监设立的原则之外，我觉得这也很违反人权呐。那是不是我们干脆走回头路，就是全部废掉外役监这样子的一个制度？
But activist voices could be left unheard. More than 400 prison inmates will now wear the watch on work release, and after a trial of 1 year, the technology could expand to all prisons in Taiwan. Patrick Chen and Bing Wang for TaiwanPlus.
It's just over 6 months till Taiwan's presidential election, and the main party's campaign strategies are starting to take shape. As new battle lines are drawn, John Van Trieste gives us the latest.
Cheering on their candidate, members of Ho Yo-i's campaign team chant in unison. As next year's election nears, this presidential candidate's team is growing. Among the newest recruits is King Bu-tong, a former envoy to the U.S. King comes with a reputation as a unifier in Ho's party, the Kuomintang or KMT. The campaign hopes to heal rifts with rival KMT factions over Ho's nomination.
执行长负责选举的方向、策略、规划、执行，并统合所有的战力，也是带着这个团队往前走。 最重要的一个步骤跟方向。
The full list of Ho's campaign staff is set to come out Saturday. But it's not just the country's top office that's up for grabs. On Wednesday, DPP presidential candidate Lai Ching-te announced more picks for the legislature. They include an independent.
民进党仍然秉持跨党派、跨世代、跨领域的原则，推动第四波的民主大联盟的征召工作。今天所征召的4个候选人，都是一时之选，表现也都非常杰出。
And as he prays to become his party's first president, Taiwan People's Party candidate Ko Wen-je announces his first wave of legislative picks. He says key battlegrounds are starting to take shape.
中彰投不是只有一区要选立委嘛？这涉及到整个中彰投的全盘战局，要怎么做的还有谁要那个，我们还要再详细的规划。
For all the candidates, making picks is a balancing act between pleasing the party and winning over voters in the race to Taiwan's top job. James Lin and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.
LGBTQ groups are calling on politicians to adopt queer-friendly policy platforms. A number of groups released a white paper with suggestions in 5 areas: campus and education, workplace, family, medical and social welfare, and social awareness. They also called for the passage of an equality law. They say this could help promote a more friendly environment for people from the LGBTQ community to enter politics. Coming up, scientists in Taiwan develop a new disease-resistant rice strain. Stay tuned for more.
Start your weekend with a cup of coffee and a moment to reflect on what happened this week.
Hello and welcome.
We've got you covered, from defense and politics to high-tech and the arts.
Not just to Taiwan, the whole world is watching.
You make the coffee,
we make the news.
Here's what happened on TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching TaiwanPlus. For more stories about virtual reality and more, download the TaiwanPlus app.
In the face of adversity, the power of truth.
A roadmap for a just and open world, charted by the freest country in Asia.
Taipei for TaiwanPlus.
TaiwanPlus News, a voice of freedom in Asia.
Welcome back. You're watching TaiwanPlus News. Major US chip maker Micron has reported a revenue drop of over 50% from the same quarter last year, but it still managed to beat market estimates. This comes after the company's chips were banned in China's markets after failing a Beijing security probe earlier this year. Sales to China accounted for about a quarter of the company's total, but the drop hasn't hit the tech giant's optimism. Their shares have continued to rise, largely due to their product's role in emerging AI technology. Just how much can AI pull chip makers out of an industry-wide slowdown? Our reporter Joyce Zhang speaks with economist Alicia Garcia-Herrera.
Despite Micron reporting a 57% year-on-year revenue drop, this still beat analysts' expectations. How should we interpret these results?
The results for the second quarter for Micron are indeed, could look appealing because they are the fall in profits is less than actually, say, Samsung for that matter. The reality is, though, that the very specific import ban that Micron is suffering from, while it starts in March, actually there's lots of others that would not be affected by this import ban. So we should be seeing possibly worse results in the third quarter. However, China for Micron is only 11% of the revenue. So I would not overestimate the impact in the third quarter. But overall, economically speaking, cycle-wise, it should be better second half of the year, especially the fourth quarter.
Are we seeing a turning point for the chip industry? How much can developments in AI pull it out of its slump?
Yes, AI is very important for some companies, NVIDIA, others, TSMC. Surely that will create additional demand, but these are not, I mean, like for the most mature chips, I think the slowdown will continue until probably the fourth quarter. I think the cycle will recover once, if, maybe I should say if, we already rule out a recession in the US, in Europe by the fourth quarter, but we're not yet there.
That was Joyce Zhang speaking with Alicia Garcia-Herrero, Chief Asia-Pacific Economist at French investment firm Natixis. Now, how many times have you wished you had an extra hand? Well, a team of cybernetics engineers in Japan are working to make that a reality. Eric Gao has this report.
Human and robotic limbs moving in harmony. This dancer is performing with extra arms attached to a harness on her back. She makes interacting with the cybernetic limbs look much more graceful than their inventor. Inami Masahiko and his team from Tokyo University created this system. Called the Jizai arms, which roughly translates to the freedom to do as you please, they hope it can help spur people's imagination.
でさらに新しいこれで身体を使った新しいパフォーマンスアートが生まれたりとか、そういう芸術が生まれたりとか、そういうクリエイティビティをどんどん刺激して、それを社会の中でより加速していく、そういうような世の中にしたいなというふうに思っています。
Jizai can support up to 6 robotic arms at once, and they can be swapped out with different types of hands or claws. The arms are remotely controlled by operators based on a traditional form of Japanese puppetry known as bunraku. Inami says that interactivity and shared experience is a core part of the design.
腕の特徴はですね、こうやって人の2本の腕以上にたくさん腕を増やせるってことだけではなくて、実はこれ背中のソケットでですね、外したりつけたりで、さらに別の人に貸したりということもできるようになるんですよね。
But arms are just the start. The team is hoping to expand to other kinds of limbs in the future.
付け替えると今はこういう腕の形だけですけれども、例えば将来背中から羽を生やしたりとかですね、ドローンをつけたりとか、さまざまなアタッチメントを付け替えしながら、いろんな能力を獲得していく、そういうようなこともできるんじゃないかなというふうに思っています。
With so many possibilities on the horizon, Inami and his team hope their Jizai system will give people the freedom to explore the world in many different ways. Leon Yen and Eric Gao for TaiwanPlus.
Canada is experiencing its worst wildfire season on record. Hundreds of fires are raging across the country. The resulting smoke has blown across North America and reached Europe. Many US and Canadian cities have had to issue air quality alerts. Canadian officials say the size of the fires is unusual this early in the year. Political leaders and environmental experts are linking them to rising temperatures caused by climate change. Firefighters are now working to put out the blazes. New Zealand's Prime Minister has met with top Chinese officials in Beijing. Chris Hipkins is on his first trip to China since taking office in January. On Tuesday, he met Chinese President Xi Jinping, who called New Zealand a friend. Then on Wednesday, he spoke with Chinese Premier Li Qiang about tensions in the Taiwan Strait and the South China Sea. The two countries signed agreements on trade and agriculture. Hipkins wants to boost economic ties with China and recently refused to join US President Joe Biden in labeling Xi a dictator. The number of pedestrians killed on Taiwan's roads continues to rise. New figures show that people killed crossing the road in April jumped nearly 50% from the year before. Most of those deaths happened in Taichung. Taiwan will enforce new traffic rules on Friday aimed at reducing the number of pedestrians hurt or killed. Any vehicle that fails to yield to people crossing the street will be fined around $200. It comes amid growing public pressure to improve the country's traffic safety. While the main focus is on getting drivers to be more careful, the Transportation Ministry says pedestrians also share some responsibility for staying safe.
加强行人要遵守规定，比如说你走路的时候要专心，不要滑手机，不要随意的穿越马路。
The US wants to sell more grain to Taiwan, but Taiwanese officials might need some convincing. Sally Jensen explains why.
75 million metric tons.
That's the amount of soybeans, corn and wheat that have been bought and sold between the US and Taiwan since 1998. The US is already Taiwan's largest source of agricultural imports, but it wants an even bigger share. That's what was said at the 50th anniversary of the US Grain Council's office in Taiwan on Wednesday.
We are not content to rest. In fact, we've launched a new initiative of bringing awareness of how important blending US ethanol into gasoline can be in helping Taiwan meet its greenhouse gas reduction goals.
Ethanol is a type of alcohol made from corn, sugarcane and grains, which can be used as a source of fuel called biomass. It can be used on its own. More commonly, it's blended with gasoline to power vehicles. Doing this releases fewer emissions into the air and is considered a cleaner form of fuel. It reduces dependence on fossil fuels, which emit planet-warming greenhouse gases when burned. But producing the grains for biomass requires huge amounts of land and fresh water and can cause food prices to spike. Given this, Taiwan's politicians are not fully on board with the idea of increasing US grain imports. They say using biomass might help reduce fuel emissions, but it first needs further investigation.
我们试过，当然有一些问题嘛。那当然当初是从空污的角度，那现在如果说把减碳也考虑进来，那可能评估又不一样，所以是不是可以进一步评估？这是大家可以去考虑。
To bring down the country's emissions, Taiwan's Environmental Protection Administration hopes to reduce its reliance on agricultural imports. It's instead encouraging people to eat more Taiwan-grown vegetables and local produce. The US is trying to expand its agricultural export market as Brazil becomes a major competitor for exports to China, a key customer for both top exporters. But while the US tries to sell biomass grains to Taiwan for climate reasons, for many here, the idea doesn't look like it'll take root anytime soon. Scott Huang and Sally Jensen for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan's top university has teamed up with the government to develop a new fungus-resistant rice strain. As Laurel Stewart explains, it's aimed at helping farmers combat diseases affecting the crop.
These rice paddies look like they're flourishing. But look closer. The rice husks are hollow and dry. They've been hit by a fungal infection not uncommon in Taiwan. Known as the plague of rice crops, the disease can cut yields by more than 30%. But a new strain of fungus-resistant rice could give farmers a needed boost. Dubbed Kaohsiung No. 1, the crop won't be able to produce as much as ordinary rice strains. But scientists say its resistance to several different types of fungus will be beneficial.
我们这次挑的 PI9 这个基因呢，它表现很好，都有研究显示说它对大部分的菌株是抗的，也就是说呢，它理论上是可以撑更久的时间。
The new strain could also help cut down on costs. Yunlin County farming representative Chen Minbao says not having to spray the crops with pesticides will make them cheaper and easier to manage. Fungus is a pain for farmers because it mutates quickly. The most commonly grown rice in Taiwan was originally a disease-resistant crop, but after a few years of widespread planting, it's no longer effective against common fungal infections. But the new rice strain is a breakthrough. Its ability to fight off a wider range of diseases should keep it around for much longer. Ethan Chen and Laurel Stewart for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan is known for its local delicacies, some of which can only be enjoyed during specific seasons. Our reporter Sandy Chi heads to the Bluefin Tuna Festival in southern Taiwan to get a taste of this season's offerings.
This is Bluefin tuna. It's something of an icon in Donggang, southern Taiwan. Locals love this tuna, and it is said that it can be consumed from head to tail. It's Bluefin tuna season, a time when these massive fish migrate through nearby waters. And that's good news for seafood lovers, as bluefin meat makes some of the freshest sashimi.
It's really delicious.
我们点的是综合，那当然那个黑尾鱼是很容易就辨别 ，Q 弹不油腻。
A few decades ago, people in Taiwan weren't big fans of this fish. Back then, the country exported 80% of its bluefin catches to Japan. But that all changed after the first Bluefin Tuna Festival was organized in 2001.
我们很多餐厅，他开始会去研发一些黑鲔鱼的料理。那他去研发出这样子的料理，其实游客来就变成说，这几年的黑鲔鱼几乎是供不应求。
With the festival bringing in thousands of tourists, local seafood restaurants have strived to make their dishes even more unique and attractive.
这几年那个消费抬头意识蛮高的，大家都喜欢吃鲜甜的好的鱼。
Besides sashimi, local chefs have used every part of the fish to craft exquisite meals.
下巴、琵琶骨这做烤的是不输给生鱼片。另外还有眼睛，黑鲔鱼的眼睛做汤也非常非常的好吃。尾巴的部分也可以做红烧的，也很棒。黑鲔鱼可以从头吃到尾，由皮吃到内脏都非常好。
With so many new and creative ways of consuming this prized fish, seafood lovers are in for a real treat during Bluefin Tuna season. Alex Chen, Kamashu, P.T. Zhang and Sanny Chi for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching TaiwanPlus News. Remember to download the TaiwanPlus app for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Finally, today we leave you with images of the National Museum of Modern Art in Iraq, which once housed the country's most treasured artworks from the 21st century. I'm Yin Khvat. Take care and see you next time.